In 1851, so the story goes, President Millard Fillmore installed America's first real bathtub in the White House. Here it is. The object of the week. Also, wrong. Wrong in 4 separate ways, which is a lot of wrong to fit around one bathtub. Let's go through them. On the 28th of December, 1917, a journalist named H.L. Mencken sat down and invented, from nothing, a history of the American bathtub. He was bored. The war had gotten him frozen out of writing anything political, so he wrote something fake instead, purely to see what would happen. His own newspaper had already closed its pages to him. So had the Atlantic. The New York Evening Mail ran it as straight history. Nobody there checked a word. He invented a plumber's patent fight over the design. He invented doctors denouncing the bathtub as a health hazard. He invented a state tax on owning one. He invented the merchant who supposedly took the first American bath in 1842. None of it happened. Not one line was checked before it ran. And the story's big finish, Fillmore's triumphant White House bathtub, also invented. The White House already had a bathing room with hot and cold running water, built for Andrew Jackson, 18 years before Fillmore was ever president. 9 years later, in May 1926, Mencken confessed. Front page of the Chicago Tribune. His own words, "A tissue of absurdities, all of them deliberate and most of them obvious." You'd think that settles it. It did not. So many readers refused to believe the confession that Mencken had to publish a second one 2 months later just to say it again. That one was called Hymn to the Truth, a very tired title for a man explaining the same lie for the second time. Confessed twice, believed neither time. 5 months after the confession, Scribner's magazine printed Mencken's fake history again, as fact. Then, in 1929, it ran in the Baltimore Evening Sun, Mencken's own newspaper. Then, in 1942, the Baltimore Sun told the whole thing again. 1926, 29, 1942. Same hoax, same city's papers, 3 separate decades. And the best one. In 1926, the Boston Herald printed a piece mocking the public for believing anything they read. 3 weeks later, the Boston Herald ran Mencken's fake bathtub history, as news, in the same paper. It fact-checked the entire public and forgot to fact-check itself. A sitting president was still telling it in the 1950s. Truman repeated the Fillmore bathtub story to White House visitors in 1951 and to a room of federal hospital officials the year after that. So what actually made the bathtub a normal thing to own in America? Nothing that dramatic. In 1883, a Wisconsin foundry owner named John Michael Kohler took a cast-iron horse trough his company already made and coated it in enamel. His own catalog put it plainly, "When furnished with 4 legs, will serve as a bathing tub." A horse trough, with legs. The real story after that is plumbing, not doctors. Cities laid pipe, block by block, for decades. By 1900, only 6% of urban American households had filtered water. By 1940, the first year the census even asked, only 56% of American homes had a private bathtub or shower. That is the real history. No doctors, no tax, no president. Cast iron and infrastructure, moving slower than anyone wanted a good story to move. Nobody built a myth out of pipe infrastructure. Pipe infrastructure doesn't turn into a fact you can repeat at a dinner party. Here's the pattern. The people most sure they'd never fall for a fake story, a literary magazine, a newspaper that had just mocked its own readers, a sitting president, are exactly the ones who fell for it. Confidence isn't the same as checking. It never was. Mencken proved that in 1917. Everyone who repeated him after just proved it again. That's the whole channel, really. Somebody prints something too clean to be true, and everyone downstream just doesn't look. Next week, another object, another sanded-down story, same amount of pettiness. Subscribe if you want to watch me take it apart.